Hi guys, in this class I will discuss you about a form input element. You know that there are different elements types I discussed with you in the previous class. One of them is input element. What is input element and how you can use input element in the form container. Input element is used to get any type of data like username, password, email, website, URL, date of birth, etc. You can get data from the user using input element. For example, you have to write input element is the unpair tag. There is no closing tag. You have to just put a slash here. So type is the important attribute of input element. Here you have to mention which type of data you want to get from the user. If you want to get a text type a content, you have to mention here a text. If you want to get email, you have to write here email. If you want to get date of birth, you have to mention a date. If you want to get password from the user, you have to mention here password. So these are different types of data you can mention here. For example, you can see that this is a form container. Inside I used a input type attribute with the text. It means I will get text type of data from the user. It means I will get a password type of data from the user. In the next slide I will share with you different values. Input attribute type is the attribute which take different types of value that I will share with you. So here you have to mention a value of the type attribute. For example, text, password, radio, range, reset, search, submit, tell, time, URL. So these are different types of values you can mention here. Number. So these are different values you can mention in this place as a value. I will explain each and every values in the notepad. We go to notepad to understand more. In the notepad, first of all, I want to get a input field. You know that this is a file starting tag and ending tag. Just put a slash. So this is start and this is the end of farm tag, and inside the farm start and end tag I am inserting a input element. So this is a input tag. Just I provide a type attribute. Here I mentioned different types of values. You can see that this is a list I shared with you on the previous slide. I will use one of them is a, for example, text. I pass a text t small. Save this file as a input.html. So I have saved this file, and first of all I open this file in the browser. This is file. Open this file. You can see that a text box, a input box is displaying here. You can write here anything else in the text form. So when you write a input, you will get a input like box. In the input box, user can insert different types of data. Different types of data depend upon value of the type. Now if I change to password, now what you can see that when refresh, user will be able to write password like it will be a encrypted form. So in the next, if you want to get more like a radio, range, reset, you can use all of these different types of values. I will show you every uh, element with you. First of all, I have to create a password text. I pause the video. You can see that all the values are I used in the type value. First of all, I use a type. Value is a text. Password, search, you can search anything else using this type, but you have to use with programming language like Python, PHP, then it will work. Time, you can select time. Tel means you can insert telephone number. URL, you can insert a URL, website URL. You can select week. You can select any color from color palette. You can select date. You can insert a specific only email. You can insert any file, image, document file, PDF file. You can give a range, but you can mention here minimum value is 0. User will be able to select any range number from 0 to 10 or 0 to 20. You can mention. You can select any image. It is specially to insert image file. You can select any month, you can select or insert any number, integer. So another type is button. You can create a button, a value okay will be visible on the button. So you can create a submit button. When you click on the submit button, your data will be sent to the database using different programming language. You can get this functionality when anyone click on the submit button. Reset, when you click on the reset, your data inserted in the text boxes or input boxes will be erased, and then from the starting point you have to input or you have to give, so it will reset your form input fields. So you can see that here I used a line breaks. I want every input field should be on the new line, and there should be a distance to clear each concept. Here I used some labels. There is a specific label tag you have to use. Just I will use this label without label tag. I will discuss with you about label tag or label element in the later class. So password, so it will be visible on the browser. I save this file and open the browser. You can see that when I refresh, and all the fields are displaying here. Okay, everything is look like good one. When I submit this form, for example Faisal, password is this one, I can search here, and I can remove from a cross button, and I select any time, AM, PM. So in the next I can insert telephone number. In this case tel is displaying that you can insert a telephone number, tel. In the next website URL, you can insert any website URL. If you did not provide a proper website URL, then it will give you an error. For example, if you can select any week, you can select any color from color plate, and you can select any date, you can give any email, you can select any file, document, you can select any problem number 7, you can select a range. I show you, it will be a 0 to 20 range, and you can see that please enter a URL. When you did not provide a specific data that for example this website is offering that you have to insert only website or URL, proper URL format with HTTP. If you did not provide a proper URL, it will give you error. So another is when you month, you can select month, and you can provide only number. You cannot insert any text here, alphabetical, lower or upper, but you have to just allow, you can insert any number. Okay, it's a button. It have no functionality, but you can get any functionality using another programming language. Submit button, when you click on the submit button, your data will be sent to the database, or in the URL there are two methods, get and post, to send your data. When I click on the reset, all the data will be raised in the input field. When I click on the reset, you can see that all the data are reset. So these are different fields you can use. When I click on the submit button, your data will be sent to the database, or in the URL there are two methods you can send data, using get method and using a post method. When I click on this button, there is no data is sent because I did not provide any data. To send a data to the database, you have to mention a attribute, that is a name. For example, you have to write username. So to get any field data from the user, you have to mention a name attribute. In the name attribute value, you can mention anything else. For example, this field is about username, I mention username. For example, this field is about password, I will write a password. So this attribute value, password or username, is used to get data from the user, and then we save that data in the database. So when I refresh the web page, when anything else I provide, for example username, password here, and I click on the submit button, you have to analyze in the URL. You can see that username is this one and password is this one. So these are techniques you can get user data from the input boxes, and then we have to save this data to the database. But oftenly we did not use this method. This method is not secure because you can see that password is showing in your in the URL. So this is not a good technique. So these are different techniques, a different different input field types I discussed with you. There are two uh, values, checkbox and radio. I will discuss with you in the separate class. I will explain these two things, two values of the input type attribute. So I think everything is clear. It is all the fields, input fields with different type of value. So in the later class, I will discuss you about a checkbox and radio box.